This is Astrologer Pam Younghans, and here is my forecast for the week of April 17th to 23rd, 2023. When the Sun and Moon align at 9:12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time this Wednesday, April 19th, they will form both a powerful new moon and a rare hybrid solar eclipse. The phenomenon is possible because of the curvature of the Earth's surface. A hybrid solar eclipse appears as either a total solar eclipse, a partial solar eclipse, or an annular solar eclipse, depending on where the viewer is located along the central eclipse path. The three versions of this week's event can be viewed from parts of the Pacific and Indian Oceans, with the total eclipse visible from Northwest Cape in Western Australia, from parts of East Timor, and from West Papua, Indonesia. Symbolically, this hybrid eclipse reminds us of the importance of accepting one another despite differences of viewpoint. While each of us may have a different interpretation of reality, as seen through our unique frame of reference, all perspectives are valid. Hybrid solar eclipses occur only about once a decade. The next hybrid solar eclipse is expected in November 2031. An eclipse is always a time of heightened emotions, and this week's solar eclipse is likely to be especially so. At the time of the lunation, the Sun and Moon will be at 29 degrees 50 minutes of Eris, just 10 arc minutes away from entering Taurus. The 30th degree of a sign is known as the anaretic degree, also called a power degree or the degree of fate. When the last degree of a sign is activated by a planetary event, there is a sense of urgency related to the themes of the sign. We are ending a chapter and must wrap up unresolved issues. These issues may make themselves known through a crisis of some sort. With this eclipse in the last degree of proactive and independent Aries, some may take action or make a decision impulsively this week. There is a great deal of energy available to be harnessed, which can be used in promoting a cause, taking on a battle, or expressing either courage or foolhardiness. In essence, some may feel that they've reached a crisis point and feel compelled to act and act now. Eclipses occur when a new or full moon is positioned near the nodal axis, which are the indicators of our karmic history and our evolutionary potentials. As such, there is always a sense of destiny associated with events that occur during eclipse season. This feeling is magnified this week due to the involvement of the anaretic degree. This week's solar eclipse is also aligned with a black hole called supernova remnant Cas A, which warns us to be observational rather than reactive now. Astrologer Mary Elizabeth Youngmans explains this influence in her book, Karmic Galactic Astrology. There is a tendency here to relate and react to people, places, and situations from a remembrance of a past life energy or memory, rather than being in the present, dealing with the reality of how things, people, places, and situations are now. Integration of past lives and learning and acceptance of those lessons will help us relate in the here and now in a more healthy manner. This will help us not overreact in an irrational, emotional manner. Adding even more drama to the week ahead, the new moon solar eclipse will be tightly square catalytic Pluto, which is now in the first degree of Aquarius. This eclipse is our first major opportunity to see the effects of Pluto in Aquarius, and we will have choices in how we use this influence. Since Pluto and the Sun Moon are in challenging square aspect, we may see shadow qualities being expressed with this new moon. Confrontations and power struggles, extremism, radical ideologies, and divisiveness. And yet some of the more contentious energy may be ameliorated due to it being an out of sign square, with the new moon in the last degree of a fire sign and Pluto in the first degree of an air sign. However, the Sun and Moon are also conjunct discontented Eris and giant planet Jupiter, further complicating and magnifying the energies. Our task, once again, will be to maintain a certain neutrality and a higher perspective regarding events and our emotional responses. It will be wise to pause and reflect on our underlying motivations if we feel a sense of urgency to act, since actions taken out of fear or anger only create more of same. We might keep in mind that the longer term objectives of Pluto in Aquarius are ultimately being served, even if the road appears rocky or we meet with an unexpected detour. The positive end goals of Pluto in Aquarius include stimulating social reform, advancing human rights, and accessing higher level insights and ideas as tools for transformation. Pluto is the god of the underworld, with dominion over life's major turning points, and the eclipse occurs at a transitional degree, the portal between zodiac signs. This is also a solar eclipse, which can be likened to a mega new moon. All of these factors accentuate this week's theme of significant endings and beginnings. Here are this week's most important planetary aspects with my brief interpretations of each. There are no major aspects exact on Monday. On Tuesday, Venus is semisquare Jupiter. This is a minor but somewhat self-indulgent aspect, tending us to choose immediate pleasures over longer-term goals. On Wednesday, Venus is semisquare Eris. Focus on our own needs can cause conflicts with others. And Wednesday is the day of the new moon solar eclipse. This hybrid solar eclipse will reach totality at 9:12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on April 19th. This is 4:12 a.m. Universal Time on April 20th. On Thursday, the Sun enters Taurus. While the Sun is in Taurus from April 20th to May 21st of this year, we tend to be motivated by a need for inner peace, loyalty, outer security, and material stability. But on Thursday, the Sun is exactly square Pluto, which means our desires for inner and outer stability are challenged. We become aware of how a fear of change has controlled our actions and interfered with progress. On Friday, Mercury stations retrograde at 1:34 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Mercury will be moving backward from April 21st to May 14th. During this time, we will benefit from considering life events as being symbolic, as if we had dreamt a situation rather than experienced it in real life. This will enable us to embrace a new way of viewing reality, which will ultimately shift our perspective and habitual thought patterns. There are no major aspects exact on Saturday. On Sunday, Jupiter is conjunct Eris. Giant Jupiter magnifies the influence of controversial Eris throughout this week and next. Those who have been ignored or disenfranchised feel the need to take action. Beliefs in right and wrong are very strong, making it harder to see issues from another's point of view. And on Sunday, retrograde Mercury is sextile Mars. People may be more forthright in their speech with this aspect. But with Mercury retrograde, it can be wise to consider new ideas and plans as a first step in a process rather than making final decisions now. If your birthday is this week, there is an increased sense of optimism available to you this year, and you may feel inspired to take risks that you hadn't considered feasible before, based on a desire to bring more meaning into your life. However, you may feel some inner resistance or experience outer challenges that reflect a discomfort with major change. As you become aware of old behavior patterns and see more deeply into your own motivations, you are empowered to move through and dismantle patterns of fear that have kept you from achieving greater mastery in your life. This is Astrologer Pam Younghans wishing you an insightful week. Thank you for being with me on this journey.
We hope that you have enjoyed this article. For over 30 years, we at Inner Self have sought to encourage new attitudes and new possibilities. For more inspiration, visit us at innerself.com. Thank you. Visit the Inner Self Market for new attitudes and new possibilities. You'll find inspiring books, wonderful music CDs, audiobooks, card decks, candles, jewelry, gifts, all kinds of wonderful things. Visit us at market.innerself.com.